Today we're going to learn a beginner version of Let Her Cry by Hootie and the Blowfish. We'll go through the chords used throughout the whole song so that we're familiar and comfortable with what we're going to play, and then we'll go step by step, verse by verse, nice and slow and together, and learn how the song goes. Before we start, the first thing you want to do is make sure your guitar is in tune. So I suggest using a digital tuner so that your guitar is in perfect tuning. Today's song, Let Her Cry, is in standard tuning. Another thing to remember is always make sure you cut your fingernails. It's going to make it a lot easier to play and easier to push your fingers down onto your frets. For today, we're going to name our fingers, number them I should say, just so we know exactly what we're talking about when I say finger number 2 or finger number 4. So, finger number 1 is going to be your index finger. Finger number 2 is going to be your middle finger. Finger number 3 is going to be your ring finger. Finger number 4 is your pinky. If we ever refer to our thumb, we'll just say, use your thumb. So first, let's get into tune. Let's start with our big E string. If you don't have a digital tuner, you can tune to me. So let's do this. There's your E. Let's go down to the A. There's your A. Let's go down to the D. And to the G. Now down to the B. And last but not least, our high E. Okay, now that we're in tune, let's get into what chords we're actually going to be playing. The first one that's played is a G.
The next chord is a G major, or what I like to call a 4-finger G, where all 4 fingers are used.
It's a regular G, but I like to use a 4-finger G, or what's called a G major. And what we'll do is we're going to take our second finger and put it onto the 3rd fret on the big E string. Take our first finger, put it onto the 2nd fret on the A string, and then our 3rd and 4th finger are going to go on to the B and the high E. So finger number 3 is going to go on the 3rd fret on the B string. Finger number 4 is going to go on to the 3rd fret onto the high E string. And your chord should sound a little bit like this. You can see up in the top corner here, I'll show you exactly where my fingers are if you can't see. The second chord is a D.
The next chord, D, uses only 3 fingers.
Now what we're going to do here throughout the song so that it's simpler, to change from your G to your D, is your finger number 3 is going to stay put almost the entire song. So keep it on like that, as you can see. And we're going to come down here and put our first finger on the 2nd fret on the G string. 3rd finger is going to stay put on the 3rd fret on the B string, and our 2nd finger is going to come in here between them and go onto the 2nd fret onto the high E string. And this is what you should get for a sound. Okay, now the next one is called a C add 9.
C add 9 uses the same structure as a G major chord and also uses all 4 fingers.
Now what I like about this is, remember I said that 3rd finger that's staying on your B string on the 3rd fret, that's still going to stay there. So you only have to move a few of your fingers. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our 2nd finger, we're going to put it on the 3rd fret on the A string. We're going to put our first finger on the 2nd fret on the D string. Our 3rd finger is going to stay put on the 3rd fret on the B, like we said. And then our little pinky finger is going to go on to the 3rd fret on the high E string. And this is what you should get for a sound. This form is almost exactly like the form of the G major or the 4-finger G. All you're doing is moving your first 2 fingers up or down. So if you get used to changing that, you can get a really nice sound out of that. Now the last chord that we're going to use in this song is called an E minor.
The next chord, E minor, is only using 2 fingers. Whichever 2 fingers is most comfortable for you is what you should use.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take our first 2 fingers, and this is the easiest way to play this chord. We're going to take our finger number 1, it's going to go onto the 2nd fret on the A string, and our finger number 2 is going to go onto the 2nd fret onto the D string. And you get this. Another way to play this is to use your middle 2 fingers, your 2nd finger and your ring finger, your 3rd finger. Put your 2nd finger on the 2nd fret on the A string. Put your 3rd finger on the 2nd fret on the D string. Same sound, but what this does is it frees up your number 1 finger here. So if you're ever playing a song, you can play an E minor, and then what you do is you take your 1st finger, put it on the 1st fret on the G string, and that gives you a regular E. A happier sound. Okay, so now we're going to get into the song, how it goes. The intro, he starts singing pretty much right away, so there's not really an intro to the song. It pretty much starts with a verse. The regular verse is going to be pretty simple. It's going to go from a G to a D to a C add 9 and then back to a G. Now, since it starts on a G and ends on a D, you just have to remember when you finish, you stay on the same chord. So what we'll do is we'll start on the G. So our 2nd finger is going to go onto the 3rd fret on the big E string. Our 1st finger is going to go onto the 2nd fret of the A string. And then we're going to take our 3rd and 4th finger and put them on the B and the high E on the 3rd fret. So finger number 3 on the B on the 3rd fret, finger number 4 on the high E on the 3rd fret. For a G, sorry. Now, then, like I said before, our 3rd finger is going to stay on the B string on the 3rd fret. All we're going to do is we're going to lift up our baby finger. That's not going to go anywhere after that. We're going to take our 1st finger onto the 2nd fret on the G string. Our 2nd finger is going to come in here on the 2nd fret on the high E string. And now we're going to put our baby finger back down onto the 3rd fret on the high E string, and we're going to take our 1st and 2nd finger and move them up to the 2nd finger on the 3rd fret on the A string, and the 1st fret on the 2nd fret, so 1st finger on the 2nd fret on the D string. That's going to give us our C add 9. And after that we go back to the G string. Okay, now let's play it together with the rhythm. Nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, C add 9, and back to the G. We're going to stay here for 2 bars. Here we start again, G, then to the D, and to the C add 9, now back to the G. Feel free to practice that on your own. Every verse is exactly like that. Now, after the verse, he goes right into the chorus. The chorus starts off with a C add 9. So, our 2nd finger on the 3rd fret on the A string, 1st finger on the 2nd fret on the D string, and our 3rd and 4th finger are going to stay exactly where they've been almost the entire song. And it goes C add 9, then up to a G, then back to a C add 9, and then he's going to go to that E minor that we talked about. With your 1st finger on the A string on the 2nd fret, your 2nd finger on the D string on the 2nd fret. And then he goes back to a D. So this is about how it sounds. I'll play it for you and then we're going to play it back together nice and slow. back to the C add 9, to the E minor, and down to the D. It's a little bit of a quick change. So what you got to do is you're going to have to practice, because that's going to be the hardest part of the song, that change. So let's play it together nice and slow. So we'll go C add 9, G, back to the C add 9, then to an E minor, and end it off on the D. That's the first part of the chorus. So let's play it together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Now to the E minor, D. Okay, now practice that on your own. Now the second part, or the middle part of the chorus, he's going to go from a C add 9 to a G, then up to a D. He's going to skip the C add 9, E minor, D. He's going to go just C add 9, G to a D. So let's do that together, nice and slow. So C add 9 on 3. 1, 2, 3. G, and then to the D. It's a little bit of a quick change again. And then to end off the chorus, he's going to go C add 9, then just go back to a G, and then he goes right back into the next verse. So C add 9, okay, now let's play that all together. So there's 3 parts. First part is C add 9, G, C add 9, E minor, and then a D. And then he goes C add 9 to a G, and then to a D, and then to a C add 9 again, and then to a G. Okay, so now let's play it nice and slow all together. 1, 2, 3, 4. C add 9 to a G. Back to the C add 9. Now here's a quick change to the E minor, and then to the D. Back to the C add 9. To the G. Now to the D, to the C add 9, and then we end it off on a G. Here we go. Once he hits that last G, then he goes back into the verse. And there's a little solo that goes throughout the, I'd say that the intro to verse 2. And what he plays on top of the solo is exactly what he plays throughout all the verses. A G, then a D, then a C add 9, then back to the G, while the solo plays over top. And he only plays through that once, and then he starts to sing again. That's pretty much the entire song. So let's play through the intro. So we're going to go G, D, C add 9, and then back to a G. We'll play through that 4 times. And I'll walk you through it and tell you what we're playing. Then we'll go into the chorus. Now, after that, all there is in this, there's no bridge in this song. There's just the verse and the chorus. And that's it. So let's do it together on 3. We're going to go from the G, which is the very first verse. So on 3. 1, 2, 3. D. Then to a C add 9, now back to the G. Okay, that's one time. Now stay on the G. G, to a D, to the C add 9, back to the G. And we're going to stay on the G again. So here we go, start with the G again. To a D, to the C C add 9, back to the G. One more time here, G, to the D, to a C add 9, to a G. Now we're going to go to the chorus, C add 9, C add 9, here we go. We're going to move to the G, and back to the C add 9, here we go. And here's the quick change to the E minor, to the D, back to the C add 9, then to a G, then to the D. Now we're going to go to a C add 9, and then G finishes it off. Okay, he pretty much does that throughout the entire song. There's a few solos in amongst the end of a chorus. So he plays an intro, or verse 1 as we'd like to call it, because he starts singing right away. And he goes into a chorus. Then there's a little solo. Then he goes into a verse number 2. Then he plays the chorus again. Then there's another solo for about 8 bars, which I believe is about 2 times verse, 2 lines in a verse. And there's another chorus, and then there's a third verse, and then he plays the chorus 2 more times, and that's the end of the song. Well, I hope you guys had a good time learning this today, and good luck.